מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יא נה 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 נה. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יא נה 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 נה. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יא נה 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 נה. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יא נה 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 נה. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Okay, we got to do better than that. Ready? Thank you. Shabbat Shalom. I heard David. Thank you, David, for that. I appreciate that. All right, friends, a couple things as we get started. One, if you have a reading as part of the service, you have a copy of the reading up there on the table, or you can just use the book, the black book that is underneath your chair, and we'll call out the page numbers. If you have a reading, you're going to come on up to this microphone right here, and this way you can stand just like this, and you can look at Sydney and do your reading and wave to her and blow her kisses or whatever you'd like to do. If you guys would all check your cell phones and turn them off, please, that would be great. Apple Watches included. If you really need to check your phone during the service, and my Davis friends, I'm talking to you as well, please don't do it in here. You can go on out to the lobby if you need to do that, all right? If we need to leave quickly, it's good to know where the emergency exits are. This is my stewardess impression, that way, and this way. All right, come on in, folks, if you're coming in. This section right over to my right, which has lots of seats, is the mask-only section. There seems to be a lot of seats open there. But if you want to sit there with your mask, only people with masks will be sitting there. And if you'll reach under your seats and bring out your black prayer books, they look like this. And just hold it up so I can see that you have it. Right under your seats. So, this is a highly participatory service, meaning Sydney is leading us. Yay, Sid. Okay? Sydney's leading us, and that means that everybody here should participate in every and all ways that you can, with snaps, with claps, with la-la-las, with saying the prayers, whatever works for you. God understands la-la-la just fine. But the idea is that we have a certain energy. And if we give her this energy like a mirror, she's going to reflect it right back to us. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Rabbi Spike Anderson, soloist Jessica Tillins, Sydney Tolk. Everybody, if you would turn to the people around you and just say, hi, my name is Shabbat Shalom. Let's get to know each other a little bit. Page 3, מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. So, Sydney, what we're doing today, this Mincha Mariv Havdalah service, is you're leading us in this service, and you're going to be chanting Torah and interpreting Torah, which is amazing. And this whole thing is a rite of passage, right? It is the rite of passage from which you become a Jewish adult in the eyes of your community. And there's lots of signposts along the way. One of the signposts is your tallis, which is adult Jewish clothing. And the idea is that yesterday, last week, last month, you weren't allowed to publicly wear a tallis because you were still a kid. But starting today, starting in about 2 minutes, as a public sign of your transitioning into adulthood, you're going to be able to wear this adult Jewish clothing. So I'm going to call up your proud mom and dad, Alana and Jerry Tolk. Come on up. Here you go. 1, 2, 3.
As this talit is draped around your shoulders, may the voices of the generations speak to you. May you know that there is a people, a rich heritage to which you belong, a sacred place from which you are connected to all who dwell on earth.
As you are embraced in the folds of this talit, you too are you wrapped in the loving embrace of your family, community, and this holy congregation. May this simplest of garments always be for you a symbol of God's abiding and sheltering presence.
As you
recite the blessing and wrap yourself in this talit, we proudly watch and celebrate with you as you accept your place in the chain of our tradition.
Okay, now Sid, you're going to read the blessing on the tallis. You can read it from right there, yeah. It's fine.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatif b'tzitzit.
Amen. And Mom and Dad are going to wrap the tallis around you so the words are on the outside. There you go. Okay, and you're going to fix her hair. Okay, so now this is a touchy-feely service. Anytime it seems remotely appropriate to give a hug and a kiss, do it, all right? Otherwise, it's a little weird. So arms around each other, just hang out here. Friends, we know that families and communities come together for all sorts of reasons. Some of them are sad. This one, super happy. And what we Jews do when we know we're in a place of celebration, a place of sacredness, is we pray Shehechianu. Literally, God, thank you for this moment in time, that we're here, that we're together. May we have this type of sacredness again and again and again. Please join us on page 4.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'hegianu l'zman hazeh.
Okay, Sid, you're going to lead us on page 5.
God be with me on this occasion as I become a bat mitzvah.
Keep going.
Help me make meaningful the covenant you now establish with me. Sustain me with the sense of holiness. Inspire me in desire to be special. I do not ask that you make my life easy, resolve my problems, or map out the direction of my life. I ask that you strengthen within me the desire to mold and shape my life in accordance with your will. In this hour of my bat mitzvah, I invoke your blessing upon my parents and my friends, and all who have loved and cared for me, all who have brought me to this time of gladness. Give them joy and fulfillment in my growth and my achievement. You who turn the hearts of children to their parents and the hearts of parents to their children.
Beautiful. Now, Sid, in a moment, you're going to lead us on page 6 responsively. So the italicized parts are the congregational parts, and we're all going to respond to you in a booming voice. Whenever you're ready, prayer for the congregation.
May the door of the synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for fellowship.
Together, may it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture.
May the door of the synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride.
May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet.
May it be too high to admit indifference, selfishness, and harshness.
May this synagogue be for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. We rise for Baruch Hu, page 15.
Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Sit on page 17. We have our Ma'ariv Aravim, which is our evening prayer, the evening prayer which starts the Jewish day. And this prayer, as daylight starts to fade and the night begins to come, signifies the beginning of each new era for us. The Jewish day starts in the evening. So every time we say this prayer, we're acknowledging that we are not held in to what happened yesterday or yesteryear, that we have a chance to be in control somewhat of our own destiny. How? With our choices, our actions, our words, how we relate to other people, how we relate to ourselves. Ma'ariv Aravim, bringing on the evening, on page 17.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, bechokma poteach sha'arim, uvitvuna meshane etim, umachalif et hazmanim, umsadir et hokavim. B'mishmim rotehem, berakia kirkzona, borei yom v'layla, rotel or mipnei kodesh v'kodesh, bipnei or umavor yom, umavi laila, umavdil bein yom uvin laila. Adonai Tevaot, Shemo Elchai v'kayam tamid yimlok aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai HaMariv Aravim.
Amen, amen. And in a moment, you're going to lead us in Ahava Rabbah, which you'll find on page 19. Ahava Rabbah talks about God's abundant love for us. And so when you look around this room and you see all these people who love you and who care about you, go ahead and swivel your head. There's a lot of love in here. The idea is that you also feel God's love, Sydney, that God is a part of your life, that God's love is a part of your consciousness. Whenever you're ready, Ahava Rabbah.
Ahavav Rabbah Avotenu Adonai Eloheinu Chemla Gedola V'tirei Chamalta Aleinu Ba'avor Avotenu Ve'imotenu Shebatchu V'chu La'amendim Chukei Chayim Kain Tichunenu Utlamdenu Hamaracham Racham Aleinu V'tein Belibenu Lahav Ulchaskin lishmoa lilmud ulamed lishmoa v'la'asot ulkayem et kol divrei Talmud Toratecha behava Baruch atah Adonai habocher be'amo Yisrael beha'ava.
Amen. And we have 2 feet on the floor. Everybody getting ready for the Shema on page 21.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kavod Mahuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. Sitting in a moment, you're going to lead us in Via Hafta on page 22. The Via Hafta is the second part of the Shema prayer. Friends, she can hear you if you're talking. She can hear you. It's part of the Shema prayer. And this prayer is one that reminds us of the important things in our life, meaning our priorities. So here we've got a reminder that we can be our best selves when we are on the way and when we're at home, when we see a mezuzah on the door, for instance, right? And the Shema and the Via Hafta are in the mezuzah. So what's the mezuzah? We talked about this. The mezuzah is at eye level, and it's a reminder as we're walking into the home that the most important thing that we can bring into our lives, the highest Jewish value, is not truth for the sake of truth's sake, not being right, but shalom habayit, peace in the home, peace in the family, and that we are to go to extremes to bring peace into the home and into the family. Then everything else works well. Now, peace in the home isn't always necessarily easy, or in the family. There have to be bridges and overtures and trying again. Will you chant for us, lead us in chanting Via Hafta, reminding us of the importance of Shalom Habayit? Page 22.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ושכבך ובקומך ושרתם להיות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך ובטבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם emet. I'd like to invite up Eric and April Elster to our choir mic right there to lead us with our prayers on page 23.
Adonai our God, you took us out of slavery in Egypt. You made us free.
Together, you were in the courage with which we overcame 40 years of desert wandering.
Even today, you are in the hope that, like beam of light, brightens the darkness of suffering and despair.
You are in the love that creates, protects, forgives.
Standing at the sea, we felt your goodness and your love, and we sang a new song for you. And still today, we sing that song.
We praise you, Adonai, Redeemer of Israel. Page 25, Michamocha. Adonai, mi kamocha ne'erav b'kodesh, norati hilo osei felech, norati hilo osei felech.
Adonai lo leolam leolam Noratehi Lord, oh, say Benet. Noratehi Lord, oh, say Benet.
We rise for our Amidah on page 26, our central standing prayer. At Sydney, as we do, we invoke the names of the Avot and the Imahot, our forefathers and foremothers, as if to say, as we enter this conversation with the divine, hey God, you knew my parents, you know my parents and my grandparents and my great-grandparents, that there's what's called yichus. There's a connection that starts way, way back. So when we are entering this conversation, it's one that is familiar, not just to us, but the divine. On page 26, we have our Amidah.
Adonai, Sevatar Tiftach Lufia, Ginta Hilatecha.
Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Ha'gibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Hasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Gula Livnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'elam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Otavra V'Kushia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabbi, Somech Noflim Verofei Kolim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayeh Emunato Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memid, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'neman atah lechayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. I'd like to invite up Michael and Judy Tolk to lead us on page 28. There is holiness when we strive to be true to the best we know.
There is holiness when we are kind to others.
There's holiness when we strive for harmony in all of our relationships.
There is holiness when people of different backgrounds work together for a common future.
There is holiness when people seek justice and struggle for righteousness.
There is holiness when people create lasting poetry or song or philosophy.
There is holiness when we forget what divides us and remember what unites us.
Holy, holy, holy is Adonai, our God.
Atah Kadosh, page 30.
Atah kadosh v'simcha kadosh, ukdoshim b'kol yom yalu chasela, Baruch atah
Baruch Shemo.
Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Please be seated. I'd like to invite up Eva Tolk and Bill O'Day on page 31 to lead us in our prayer.
From of old, the Jewish people have seen Shabbat as a unique gift, a token of its covenant with God.
Together, Shabbat is the most cherished creation of the Jewish spirit. It mirrors the essence of the Jewish soul.
Shabbat has never been merely a day of rest from labor. It has always been a break in the routine of everyday life.
Shabbat is the symbol of liberation and triumph, of the holy over the profane, of spirit over matter.
In every age, Shabbat afforded the Jew a sacred retreat, a haven of safety, a fountain of new strength and perpetual renewal.
Shabbat nurtures family life and love and harmony, A home at peace welcomes Shabbat with joy.
Shabbat is part of nature's design, the very purpose of creation. All that was created obtained its fulfillment in Shabbat.
Shabbat is our hope, the calm haven where all the weary find rest. With the coming of Shabbat, redemption and peace enter the world. Yismechu, page 31.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקוראי עונג שבת.
ישמחו במלכותך,
שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. מקדשי שבי שבת, כולם ישמחו ויתנגו מטובך שבת.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקוראי עונג שבת.
ובשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת. חמדת ימים אותו גרעת שבת.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקוראי עונג שבת.
זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקוראי עונג שבת.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקוראי עונג שבת.
Jonathan and Julie Elster, will you join us on page 32, leading us in our prayer? Inspire us to banish hatred, war, bloodshed, and bigotry. Help us to establish forever one human family, doing your will in love and peace. You have given us the power, O God, to bring peace and justice into the world. May you always love peace and pursue it, and love our fellow creatures. Fill us with kindness, wisdom, and love. Then shall we learn to live in peace. Amen. I'd invite everyone to take a moment or two for silent prayer, silent reflection, silent meditation. Sid, come on over. You can have a seat. Strange is our situation here on earth. Each of us has come for a short visit, not knowing why, yet sometimes seeming to divine a purpose. From the standpoint of daily life, however, there is one thing we do know, that we are here for the sake of humanity, for the countless unknown souls with whose fate we're connected by a bond of sympathy. Many times a day, I realize how my own outer and inner life is built on the labors of my fellow human beings, both living and dead, and how earnestly I must exert myself in order to give in return as much as I have received and am still receiving.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Neolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Neolam. Ki atahu melech Adon, lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon, lechol hashalom.
Sydney, I'm going to have your parents, Jared and Alana, come on and meet you up on the bima for what we call the parent blessing, which you'll find on page 36. Jared and Alana, this blessing is a mashup, really, of sayings from the Talmud. And these great rabbis, I'm going to hand this to you, these great rabbis who have so much wisdom were also parents. And so now today, as parents, you pass down these gems of wisdom to your daughter on the occasion of her bat mitzvah. So face mom and dad.
Sydney, may you live to see your world fulfilled. May your destiny be for the world still to come. And may your truth in generations past and yet to be.
May your heart be filled with intuition, and your words be filled with insight. May songs of praise ever be upon your tongue, and your vision be on a straight path before you.
May your eyes shine with the light of holy words, and your face reflect the brightness of the heavens. May your lips ever speak wisdom, and your fulfillment be in the righteousness.
A Jewish home opens its heart, and its link to the generation is proclaimed. Today, Sydney, nearly grown, you are called to read from the Torah and are welcomed into this congregation. May this moment be blessed.
Hug, hug, kiss, kiss.
Hug, kiss, kiss.
All right, parents, stay up here with us. I'm going to ask everyone to rise for our Torah service on page 37, calling up Gabbai Joanne Lipschutz, inviting Peter and Sophia Tolk to open the Ark, inviting Jack Tolk and Carrie Rosenthal to prepare to undress the Torah, and Grandma Gail Cartwright, where are you? Not here. Okay, fine, no problem. So come on up, everybody. Come on up.
Ki mitzion teitzei Torah. Ki mitzion teitzei Torah. U'devar Adonai meYerushalayim. Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael, b'kedushato.
I said, it is so nice to be here in this moment. I just want you to take this in for a second, okay? We have an almost perfectly balanced scale right here with 6,000 years of Jewish history on one side, right? And an eternal, so we hope, future on the other. Here you are in this sanctuary that your family helped build, underneath the Ner Tamid of Jacob wrestling with the angel, between the two flags of our two homes, surrounded by Torah, surrounded by family, surrounded by love. It's a big moment. You and the Torah have something amazing in common, and that is that you are both here because of decisions that have come from the people before you. And if you turn around, you take a look at your parents. You can turn around and really look at them. Your Grandma Gail is on her way. She's on her way, but we can picture her right here. But behind the spot where Grandma Gail will be, you can see your missing grandparents. Right? You know what I mean by that? Yeah. And behind them, your great-grandparents and great-great-great and great-great-great. And we believe that these Jewish generations are here with us in the sanctuary, surrounding us again and again and again. In Sydney, we believe that they're smiling because of what you are doing and who you've become. This is incredible. So now we symbolically pass the Torah down to Mom, to Dad, and I want you to face Dad so he doesn't hurt his back. Okay, and Dad's going to put the Torah right on your shoulder. Okay, and you're going to face out this way. Okay.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Gadol Adonai Tiyuma Romama Shemo
Give this to me for 1 second.
Yachdav Lecha Adonai Hagedula V'Hagivura V'Hatiferet V'Hanetzach V'Hahod
Follow me.
Ki Chol B'Shemayim Uvaretz Ki Chol B'Shemayim Uvaretz Lecha Adonai Lamanacha Lamid Naseh Lechol Erosh Romenu Adonai Eloheinu V'Yishtachavu Lechar Kodsho Romenu Adonai Eloheinu V'Yishtachavu Lechar Kodsho Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romenu Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romenu Yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 Yai
Yay! Nine, 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 nine. Please be seated. So, raise your hand if this is your first bar or bat mitzvah ever. Okay, awesome, welcome. You chose a good one to come to. Raise your hand if you've been to 10 or fewer bar or bat mitzvahs. Okay, you're on the right track. Raise your hand if you've come to 100 or fewer bar bat mitzvahs. Okay, ready for this one? Raise your hand if you've been to over 100 bar bat mitzvahs. Okay. Now, here's what I want you to remember, whether this is your first time or your 110th time. What Sydney is about to do is hard. It is very difficult. She is chanting from the Torah in its original without any cantillation marks or vowels. This is something which takes a long time, and not only that, it's in the language that she wasn't born speaking. Okay? So this is a very, very big deal, and not just the mechanics of it. This is the central part of the service. This is Sydney lifting up her voice, and in doing so, joining it to generations, hundreds of generations of Jews who've done the same thing. If you reach under your chair, you'll find a blue book that says Plaut on it, or the Torah. Okay, it says the Torah, and the editor is Gunther Plaut, Rabbi, Zikaron Bracha. If you turn to page 1499, it's like I'm giving you a sale. 1499, you will find Parshat Ki Titzeh from the book of Deuteronomy. And you can follow along with Sydney as she chants. Ki Titzeh is part of Moses' swan song. Moses knows he's not entering the land. He's trying to give his people the advice that he thinks that they'll need to survive without him. He's bequeathing them essentially an ethical will. But not just that, with rules and laws of how to treat one another morally. Chanting. And this is a big deal, the chanting. Our first Aliyah, we have aunts and uncles, Jonathan and Julie Elster, Eric and April Elster, and Michael and Judy Tolk. Ya'amdu Yonatan Belea Rachel ve'Yael bat Yirmiyahu ve'Chavra ve'Shimshon ben Leah Rachel ve'Lilit ve'Michael ben Yisrael ve'Yehudit la'alot leTorah. Okay, family. I'm going to give you a microphone. Baruch on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Baruch Adonai HaBarak.
Baruch Adonai HaBarak Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaBarak Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher barak banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai notein ha'Torah.
Amen.
Amen. Ki tashe bere'acha mashat ma'oma lo tavo el bato ba'avot avoto ba'chut ta'amod v'ha'ish esher ata nose vo yuzi elecha ata havot hati ve'im ish ani hu lo tashkiv be'avoto hashiv tashiv lo et ha'avot hachiv hashemesh v'chashiv be'salmato uvarechecha Adonai Elohecha tika lifnei Adonai Elohecha.
Beautiful. Tell us if you have. Okay. And your blessing after when you're ready.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam v'atan b'tukenu. Baruch Atah Adonai notein ha'Torah.
Amen. Give her a little squeeze. Okay, and family, you're going to stay up here right on the other side of Jess, okay? For our second Aliyah, we have cousins Jordy, Evan, Hannah, and Sarah Elster. Ya'amdu Shimshon be'Aharon ve'Yael ve'Menachem ben Yonatan ve'Yael ve'Hannah bat Shimshon ve'Lilit ve'Sarah bat Shimshon ve'Lilit la'alot leTorah. You'll find the Torah Blessings on page 40. Okay, I'm going to hand you a mic. Hold this first. Hold the pages so I can take this out. Baruch. 1, 2, 3. Baruch Adonai HaBarak Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai notein ha'Torah.
Amen.
Amen. Lo ta'ashok secher ani ve'evyon machut o magerecha eshar ba'arezecha besarechecha be'omo titen shechori ula tevo alech hashemesh ki ani hu ve'evyon hu nose et nafsho ula yikra Elecha o Adonai v'haye b'chaten.
Excellent. Okay, so you're going to take your seat. And you're going to touch and kiss right like that. Okay. And when you're ready, your blessing after.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai notein ha'Torah.
Amen. Beautiful job. For our third Aliyah, parents and big brother, Ilana, Jerry, and Jack Tolk. Ya'amdu Ilana Liza bat Leah Rachel ve'Yaakov ben Yisrael ve'Yehuda ben Yaakov ve'Ilana Eliza la'alot leTorah. Hang on 1 second. Take your talis. Okay, I want you to touch and kiss just like that. I'm going to hand you the microphone, nice and close. And Baruch on 3. 1, 2,
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Amen. Lo ta'teh mishpat ger yatom velo ta'avol beged alemana. V'zacharta ki eved hayita be'eretz Mitzrayim v'yiftecha Adonai Elohecha misham al keid anochi mitzavcha le'asot et hadavar hazeh ki tiksur karmecha besidecha uvarechecha ocher besadeh lo tashov la'ateh lager likra olecha leatom vela almana yihiyeh leman yikra Adonai Elohecha bechol ma'aso uvecha.
Beautiful. Okay, we're gonna take our seat and touch and kiss right at the end there.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata betocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. So you guys are gonna hang out right over there. Okay, Sydney, take a seat. Don't get too comfortable. I'm asking you to sit just so I can have you stand up again. So, in a moment, I'm going to call you up with this particular trope to the Torah, and you're going to make an Aliyah, meaning you're going to rise and ascend from your seat up to the bima. Of course, there's two parts to it. One is a physical ascent, but we believe that there's also a spiritual ascent. Literally, you're coming to a higher spiritual plane for your maftir, your ultimate chanting, and it's in this moment that you become bat mitzvah. Are you ready? All right, come on up. Ya amod, ya amod, ya amod. Yafa shlomid bat Yaakov ve'alana Eliza la'alot leTorah. So you're going to take your seat. I want you to touch and kiss just like that. And Baruch Hu when you're ready.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamavarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Ki tachbo zetecha lo tefa'er acharecha lager leatom v'la almanaha yihiyeh. Ki tiksor karmecha lo tefa'er acharecha lager leatom v'la almanaha yihiyeh. Likrat ki eved hayita be'eretz Mitzrayim al kein anochi mitzavcha le'asot et hadavar hazeh.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, touch and kiss with your seat. Right there. Okay, and blessing after.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan betocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Wonderful job. Okay. Hey, good job, right? All right. So I'm going to ask Mom, Dad, and Jack, come on over, okay? And Sid, face me a little bit. I want you to put a hand on her shoulder. I'm going to ask everyone to rise. And with the open Torah, Sydney, we're going to give you a special Misha Barak blessing for your continued spiritual development. Sid, the hope is that this process and today acts as a spiritual cornerstone for you, a place for you to push off of to wherever you're going to go, and I'm very curious where that is, but also to always find your way back to, in this moment, in this place, surrounded by this sacred community. We'll go in Hebrew and then in English. Misha Barak Avotenu Vimotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rebecca Rachel v'Leah Hu Yivarech Et Yafa Shlomit Bat Yaakov v'Alana Eliza Shehagia lemitzvot la'alta Torah HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yismeireha v'chayeha v'chonen et liba L'yot shalem im Adonai Eloheha L'got b'Torah Tola lecha b'drachav v'lishmor mitzvotav v'tem sechen v'seichel tov v'nei Elohim v'adam v'nomar. Amen. May God, who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless you, Sydney, who's come up for an Aliyah upon the age of mitzvot. May the Holy One guard you and sustain you, helping you to be wholehearted in your faith, studying God's Torah, walking God's ways, and fulfilling God's mitzvot. May you find favor before God and all people, and to that we say, Amen. We remain standing for the lifting and rolling of the Torah. I'd like to invite up, Jack, you're already up here, so Carrie, come on up to help dress the Torah. And we are on page, that's okay. We are on page 42.
וזאת התורה ששם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה.
Okay, the whipple first.
ידה לי 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 יאי לי 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 יאי לי 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 יאי לי 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 ידה לי 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 li.
Please be seated. Parents too, Jack too. So Sydney's going to deliver her drash, sometimes known as a Devar Torah. Really, it's a mini sermon. And the idea is that, Sid, the words that you've been studying and doing and delving into go through a particular lens. That lens is you, a unique diamond. So it is light going through the unique crystal, the unique diamond that's you. And what you have to share with us is uniquely yours. Although, like all of us, your influences are family, friends, community, rabbis going way back, and of course your own take on the Torah portion that you read. Whenever you're ready.
Shabbat Shalom. My portion is Kitzatzeh from the book Deuteronomy. Moses and our Israelite ancestors were traveling through the desert from slavery to freedom in Israel. While traveling, they took on a new set of laws to make it the best society we could be. There were many laws, and I'm going to be focusing on three main ones that stood out to me. First, Deuteronomy 22:10. You should not yoke together a donkey and an ox from the same plow. Yoke together a donkey and an ox? What does that mean? I do not know either, but a yoke literally means a wooden device used to tie two animals together. I feel that this law is correct because just picture it. When I picture it, I think of a little struck-looking donkey trying to hold on by being pulled by a strong wild ox. Not only are they both different sizes, but an ox is way stronger. Just like these two animals are not meant to do this task together, this also means don't set people up for failure. Try to set them up for success, because not everyone works or learns the same. I can relate this to dance because in dance, we will have to dance with people who might not learn the same. We still have to cooperate with them and make the dance the best it can be. The second law that I would like to talk about is the Mitzvah Paya, where the corners of the field are left planted but not harvested for the poor. This was done because those who could afford it were giving back to the community by also letting the poor put an effort to get their own food. Therefore, the less fortunate felt like it was not a handout because for them to eat, they had to work to harvest their food for themselves. This allows the poor to take ownership of the work they put in instead of just getting a handout. I truly agree with this concept, and it is directly related to my mitzvah project, Solidarity Sandy Springs. Solidarity Sandy Springs helps families in the community feel uplifted, supported, and with food secure. When I helped out in Solidarity, not only did a bunch of people in need help out, I got to volunteer with some of the kids and form great relationships with them. Just like in biblical times, when portions of the field were left harvested, but not only are the recipients from Solidarity helping, they volunteer almost every day to contribute their part in our community, which is incredible. This concept is especially important to me as my family has always believed in giving back to our community. This summer, I was involved in a backpack project at Solidarity Sandy Springs. Over 3 weeks, we collected supplies for people from pre-K to 12th grade. We gave away 1,223 backpacks filled with supplies. Now, not a lot of people know the cost of just one filled backpack, with enough school supplies to set a student up for a successful school year. Surprisingly, each cost around $50 to $70 with supplies, and that is not even the types of backpacks my friends and I are fortunate to have. What we did by providing these backpacks is allowing these kids to feel like they are just as special as all the other kids, because they are. When the day came to give out the backpacks in August, the smiles we saw that day were really wonderful. This experience taught me that the way I feel when I give back to my community is so important and special. It makes me want to introduce giving back to my children one day, just like my parents did for me. Lastly, Deuteronomy 22:8 teaches that if you build a house, you are required to put a fence around the flat roof so that blood will not be on your hands if someone falls from it. This rule tells us that things like making a roof safe in case someone falls can make a huge impact and even save someone's life. We should always try to take that extra step to keep someone safe. I am so glad my parents took that extra step when Jack and I were little by literally keeping us safe and baby-proofing my house. Just imagine what would have happened if they didn't care. I could have eaten nasty dog food, swallowed glass marbles, and even electrocuted myself in the outlet. In this case, my parents literally kept us safe from the dangers of the world. I am so grateful for everything they do to keep me and my brother safe, happy, and healthy. While these laws that I studied are not directly relatable today, the interpretations certainly are. For more than 5,800 years, the Jewish people have lived by laws. Being not only Jewish, but a young woman living today, I know how important it is for women to stand up for what's right. Women should be able to have the same rights, allowing them to do everything men can. It is my job to do tikkun olam and give back. I'm a part of the community that raised me, so I will remain connected to my temple, community, family, and friends. It's good to study and analyze and question things. Important progress, like women's rights, were earned because people question things. My last rule is to stay flexible, not just in dance, but also in life. You never know when some rules need a little bending. In this short time, I have also learned that life is much more than just rules. There are interesting people to meet and places to visit. Being a good member of our community is more about friends, family, and how you look at life. As my dad would say, attitude is everything. Pick a good one. I would like to thank everyone for coming here on my special day, especially the out-of-town guests who made the effort to travel here. First, thank you to my amazing tutor, Josh. I will not be standing here without all of your help. Thank you to Rabbi Spike, Miss Joanne, and Jessica for teaching me Torah. Thank you to all my friends who have helped me grow so much and helped me get here today. I can't wait to make even more memories with you guys. To my aunt and to my aunt and uncles for all the irreplaceable memories we have had. My cousins for all the drives, games, piggyback rides, and so much more. Jack, you are truly the best brother ever. I love when you drive me to school, all the times we go skiing together, play card games, piggyback rides, and all your advice. No matter how much we fight, I know you'll always be my best friend. I love you so, so much, and I cannot imagine my life without you. You mean the world to me and more. Dad, thank you for all the advice and life lessons. I enjoy our late night talks, late night adventures, our breakfast times, and so much more. I love you so, so much. Thank you for always being there when I need you and helping me get to where I am today. This night would not be possible without you. Mom, I cannot thank you enough. You are truly the best mom ever. I love all our shopping trips, late night talks, being the best dance mom ever, and so much more. You are truly amazing in every way. Thank you for all the planning and effort you put into tonight. I love you guys so much. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Wow. So I don't think anybody doubts that we just heard from a young woman with really something to say. We'll address more of that in a moment. Friends, if you look on page 44, we have the blessing for America, and I'd ask that you join with me in this prayer. O God, we invoke your blessing upon our country, the United States of America, as we strive to be a beacon of light in a darkening world. Sustain us during times of uncertainty. Guard us from calamity and injury. Give us the courage to confront evil. Enlighten us with your wisdom and sustain with your power those whom the people have granted authority, the President, their advisors, and all who are entrusted with our safety. May peace and goodwill, courage, understanding, and hope prevail among all the inhabitants of our land. May your goodness spread its blessing among us and exalt our nation in righteousness. And together we say, Amen. Prayer for the state of Israel on page 45.
Avinu Shabashamayim, Tzor Yisrael v'go'alo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Simchat Geulateinu.
Together in the English, O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of the state of Israel, bless the state of Israel with its marks of the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. And we say, Amen.
Avinu Shabashamayim, Tzor Yisrael v'go'alo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Simchat Geulateinu.
Beautiful. We rise on page 45 to return the Torah to the Ark. At the last minute, Agnes Bernardo was unable to join us, so we'll have Sydney's cousins, Jordy, Evan, Hannah, and Sarah and Elster open the Ark with Jeannie Diamond. So come on up, please. And that is on page 45. Stay right here. Okay, crew, whenever you're ready, come on up. All right, Evan, take one side, Jordy the other.
Eitz Chaim hi lamachazikim ba v'tomchecha meyushar darchei noam v'chol noam v'chol nedivotecha shalom hashivenu
Adonai Nashucha
Kadesh, Kadesh Yameinu, Kadesh Yameinu Kekedem.
And we close the Ark. Please be seated. Stay with me. Cindy, come on up here. You're going to stand right here like this. And you can face me. Okay. So Sydney, we've said it before, but it's really worth repeating. Of all the things that I get to do as a rabbi at Temple Emanu-El, including high holidays, which are coming up fast, ruckus Friday nights like last night, weddings, my most favorite thing to do is what we've been doing for the last couple months, which is getting to know each other at a deep level and learning what's called Torah Lishma, study for the sake of higher thought or higher thinking. Your Torah portion in some ways, Sid, was perfect for you because it's a Torah portion about not just knowing the right thing to do, but doing it. And this is this ancient Jewish message that comes through just about everything that we Jews do. 36 times in Torah, God says to us, take care of the widow, the orphan, and the stranger in your midst. Why? Because I'm the Lord your God who took you out of Egyptian slavery. In other words, God's reminding us that God saves us when we were slaves. And what does God want in return? That we take care of each other. And most specifically, in those days, the widow, the orphan, and the stranger, meaning the most vulnerable of that society. Now, the most vulnerable today might be different. The work that you and your family do with Solidarity Sandy Springs, right? This is thoughts coming into action, not just talking the talk, walking the walk. And when you do that type of thing, and you show us that we can do it as well, you actually show us a way to better ourselves. Not just a little bit, but how do we reach our aspirational self? So you're smart, and you're funny, and you're kind, right? I always feel like when I'm around, I feel like you're taking care of me, like you're making sure that I'm okay. And I appreciate that as well. You're from a family that's been really very much a part of Temple Emanu-El for a very long time. And you're turning into a young leader. And we appreciate that. Some leaders are very loud. Some are not so loud. Some lead by example. Some lead by taking the right steps, saying the right thing, even when it's unpopular, even when you're busy, even when you're tired. This is you. Now, you don't come out of nowhere, right? You're born, you have people around you in your home who care very much about this type of thing. But you've clearly taken the mantle. You clearly spoke words today of a young woman expressing herself, not just for the ones on the outside who have no one to speak, okay, but for yourself as a Jewish woman in America and what's important to you, and through you to many of us. So, my gift and my blessing to you, my hope for you, is that you take the momentum that you have from today, all the work that went into this, the studying, the discipline, the thinking, the heart, the action, and you use that momentum for the next thing and the next thing. And maybe it's for the Jewish people, maybe it's for your school, maybe it's for the world. You take this and you run with it. This is a hint of who you could be. And we are all very excited to see where you go. So in a moment, I'm going to have everyone rise. Let's do that now. Please stand. And we're going to impart to you the priestly benediction, this priestly blessing that we've been giving to our youth at this type of time since time began. May God bless you and keep you. May God's countenance shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Shalom.
God's face turn towards you and grant you the greatest gift of all, Sydney, what you have right now. Your feet on the ground, Torah's at your back, surrounded by the history and the symbols of your people, family and friends and community, every opportunity ahead of you, a sense of wholeness, a sense of completeness, a sense of peace. And we say, Amen. Please be seated unless you are Jerry or Alana, and then come on up.
Hey, Sydney. Wow. We can't believe this moment is finally here. And just like you approach everything in life, you worked hard on your own and wanted to practice every day. You really knocked it out of the park. This has become a theme in your life. If you want something, you have incredible determination and an amazingly hard work ethic, and you make it happen. We see this in school, playing cards, rummy cube, backgammon, and even through your Mitzvah project, and of course, with dance.
Today is a day you become a Jewish woman, but you've been practicing this role for a very long time. Initially with Grandma in the kitchen making matzo balls, and then every year you have now become the matzo ball queen. And they are good, not too hard. Even your Uncle Jonathan is a fan. But it's not just the matzo balls. You also have lit our candles for Shabbat over the last year almost every Friday, and then this Passover, you came to the rescue when I ran out of time to prepare for a Seder. Without even me asking, you made the haroset, set the table, made the Seder plate, and saved the day. But also proved to me that day how unique and special you truly are. You are wise beyond your years.
As a Jewish woman, there's more than running the world and saving the day. There's the importance of being a good friend, looking out for others, taking care of those that in need, and being and contributing to being a member of our community. Look around, Sid. God, look around. All of these friends and family members are here for you because you're a great friend. You're smart, you're witty, you're fun, you're strong, you're the best.
You're an amazing sister to Jack and daughter to Dad and I, always looking out for us. And during the pandemic, you showed us your empathy for others as you on your own decided to do Zoom calls teaching kids how to make art, and then decided to also teach gymnastics at the park. You said to me then, Mom, as a 9-year-old, I want to give these moms and dads a break and give the kids something to do. Like I said before, wise beyond your years.
Then this summer, you read the book Free Lunch for School. And during a conversation at dinner, you expressed wanting to help out more at Solidarity Sandy Springs. The next day, you went to the pantry. You took out a backpack project, you took it on, you organized all the supplies that had to be donated, you greeted and organized and even told what to do, the new volunteers, had them organized and dropped supplies off, and then led the volunteer groups in packing the backpacks. Created spreadsheets to appropriately document all the donations, and then on Giving Day, volunteered all day to help ensure over 1,200 kids went to school with a smile on their face.
Your Mitzvah project was a perfect example of how you approach life. You give everything 110%. Not sure how many people in this room have played you in cards or board games, but they would agree you are relentless, a bit competitive, and always the winner. Kills me every time. Lastly, we see this with dance. You literally on your own taught yourself gymnastics and choreographed some dances, and before you know it, you were on a stage in a company shining. Sydney, you continue to approach life like you approach these dances. You could do anything, and we're so excited to be here for the ride.
Sydney, you are the best little girl any dad could ask for. You're a great dance partner, and you make me so proud every day. Breakfast dates, you're the best. I know on Thursday you turned into a teenager, but you'll always be Daddy's little girl.
Sydney, I'm the luckiest mom in the whole wide world to have you as my daughter. From a very young age, our relationship has been so special, and you are sincerely my best friend. I love hanging out with you, whether it be watching TV, playing games, going for walks, shopping, or just our cuddles at night. Life with you is better. Speaking of life, let's go live it. tonight is all about you. We are here to dance with Sydney and celebrate you. We love you to the moon and back.
Beautiful. All right, Jack, come on up. Elena on page 46. Parents, stay up here, please. Sydney and Jack, will you open the ark? We're going to rise, everybody, for page 46. Elena Lishabeach.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, lateit gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kigoye haratzot, velo samanu kamishbakot hadama, shelo sam kelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam.
Vanachnu korim. Uvistachavim umodim, livnei melech malchei hamachim, hakadosh baruch hu, v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai, lemelech ol kol haaretz, v'yom hahu, yeh Adonai echad. Ushemo echad. We close the ark. Family to the bima, please be seated, everyone. We're almost there. Friends, in a moment, we will pray Mourner's Kaddish, which you'll find on page 48. Sydney, we talked about the Jewish generations that we believe are here and smiling because of what you're doing. Specifically, your family remembers today Lynn Elster, Alan Elster, Jeffrey Tolk. I have to quote your grandma. She would be saying, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Thank God this is happening. Friends who are in the sanctuary or at home streaming, if you are in the first 30 days of mourning a loved one's passing, we invite you to rise now and be recognized. If you're in the first year of mourning, we invite you to rise now and be recognized. If you are commemorating the yahrzeit, the death anniversary of a loved one's passing, the Shabbat, we ask you to rise now and be recognized. And if it is your custom to rise in solidarity, as it is at Temple Emanu-El, or for the 6 million who have no one to say Kaddish for them, we ask that you rise now. Kaddish Yatom can be found on page 48. Yitgadav Yitgadash Me Rabbah, Ve'alma Divrach Hiroteh, Ve'amlich Machuteh, V'chayechon Yivomechon, V'chayedechol Beit Yisrael, Bagalav Yizman Kariv Imru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'alam Ulamei Olmaya. Yit Barach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitroman V'yitnaseh. V'yitadar V'yitala V'yitala Shmei Dekudsha B'richu. La'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata. Tush B'charta V'nechamata. Damiram B'yama V'imru. Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabbah Min Shemaya. V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael. V'imru. Amen. Osei Shalom B'imru Mav. Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru. Amen.
Osei Shalom
B'imru Mav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru. Amen. Osei Shalom B'imru Mav, Ya'aseh Shalom,
Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru. Amen.
Talk family, I'd like you to come on down to the center here. We're going to light our Havdalah candle. And as we do, a couple announcements for right afterwards, right after Havdalah. I'd ask that the kids exit right through these back doors here into the party. The adults, you're going to go into the lobby for cocktail hour. And all immediate family, please stay here for the continuation of pictures. Now, you want to light it? Yeah, absolutely. Havdalah. Havdalah is, go ahead, you can light, is the separation, very good, of Shabbat from the rest of the week. We start Shabbat by lighting candles, and we end by lighting candles, but if you look at this closely, Sydney, this is not really a candle. It's the intertwining of 5 or 6, depending on the Havdalah candle. It's the intertwining of 5 different ones to make a torch. In other words, like a family, go ahead, you want to do it? Like a family, like a community, we raise each other up. Together we can do so much more. It's dripping. Give it to Jack. All right. And actually, why don't we have Grandma hold spices, okay? All right, sit here. Take this. So we're going to pray Havdalah, which you'll find on page 50 in your black books. And in doing so, we bring the very best of who and what we are into the very ending of Shabbat and through next week.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen borei peri hagafen Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
We smell the spices.
Borei minei v'samim, borei minei v'samim, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
We see our hands in the flames.
Borei morei ha'eis, borei morei ha'eis, Baruch Kodesh lechol, hamavdil mein kodesh lechol.
Put the candle out. Go ahead. You're going to put the candle out.
Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol, chatotenu hu min kol, zarenu v'chasbenu yar ben kachol, v'chakol kavim b'layla.
Eliyahu hanavi, Eliyahu hatishbi, Eliyahu, 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 Ladi, Ladi. Simin Tova, Mazel Tova, Mazel Tova, Simin Tova, Simin Tova, Mazel Tova, Mazel Tova, Simin Tova, Simin Tova, Mazel Tova, Mazel Tova, Simin Tova. Emanu, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulecho Yisrael. Ulecho Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulecho Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulecho Yisrael. Mazel tov, everybody!